Happy EEKtober, everybody. We are doing 31 days of scary movies, and today is day 5. I'm your host, Melissa Forziat. I'm a keynote speaker, and my topic when I speak is something I call Take the Doughnut, which is another way of saying Carpe Diem. So it comes from this weird thing that happened in college where I left a real donut on the table, but it became an object lesson for me and what it looks like to leave opportunities behind. So now I want to take the donut. So here's the thing. Every now and then I do a take the donut challenge where I'll basically hold myself accountable to something I want to go after. I'll make it official and I'll go after it. But this time I'm actually opening it up to everybody. So here we are. We're doing 31 days of scary movies. And today we're talking about Scream. And I have a very special guest for this one, which I'm so excited about. This is America Lopez, who you may know from Big Brother 25. You may know from debuting #1 on the podcast charts for her podcast, America Tells All. You may know her from being a fellow Brown University graduate. You may know her from her previous Take the Doughnut interview with me. Welcome, America.
Yay! Thank you, Melissa. It's so great to see you again and get to talk to you about scary movies. OMG, EEKtober. Happy EEKtober. I'm so excited. This is actually one of the things that I do every October. I will watch as many Halloween themed movies because I don't really do scary, but I'll watch as many Halloween themed movies as I can in those 31 days. So this is perfect. I'm so excited to be here.
I am so excited you wanted to do this because I know you're not too into the scary stuff. So we're gonna get into it because I don't know. I think this is scary, but maybe it's not. My scary meter in transparency is totally busted. I've seen so many scary movies that after a while you desensitize yourself to them. So it's like hard to judge. So when you were like, yeah, I totally love to do Scream, I was like, oh, okay, cool.
I don't do scary movies at all. When I was little, my older cousins tricked me into watching Chucky, Child's Play. They told me it was Toy Story, and I was traumatized. And then this other time, so my parents don't really speak very good English. So we went out to Blockbuster and my dad rented what he thought was The Lord of the Rings, but it was actually the movie The Ring. So we're watching it and I think I'm sure he got that it was a scary movie after a while, but I had no idea. So again, those are like the only two like hardcore scary movies that I've watched, and it's a no for me. But I recently got into the Scream franchise. It was during COVID. I had a lot of time. I was like, you know what? Let me give this a shot. And I watched it and I loved it.
So you've seen a bunch of the films of the Scream franchise.
I've seen the whole franchise since.
Awesome.
I think I watched all of it back in 20 or like whatever there was at the time because I know they're still releasing movies. But I love this franchise. I love it. It's my favorite.
Ooh, that's cool. Okay, so we can dig into that as we get into the film. So for background for people, this is Scream from 1996. This is the first in this franchise. It was a slasher for sure, directed by Wes Craven, who also did A Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one, and then like came back for a little bit of a role in #3, and then came back a little bit later for another film in the franchise. We've got Kevin Williamson was the writer, and then a cast that to me everybody's famous now. We've got Neve Campbell as Sidney Prescott. We've got Courtney Cox as Gail Weathers, David Arquette as Deputy Dewey, Skeet Ulrich as Billy Loomis, Matthew Lillard as Stu Macher, Jamie Kennedy as Randy, Drew Barrymore as Casey. We've got Roger Jackson as the voice. And just for the sake of it, continuing, Rose McGowan, who's Tatum, and Henry Winkler, who's Principal Himbry. Most of the time when I tell people like the cast in these, it doesn't go on as long, but this had like so many, yeah, it's just absolutely packed. In this series, as America was just referencing, there's a Scream 2, 3, 4. There's a 2022 sequel called Scream, not a remake. It's a sequel. And then a Scream 6 so far. And Scream 7, we'll see.
Yeah, I heard that's in the works.
It's in the works. It's been in the works for a little while. But I also think it's worth noting this film really sort of reinvigorated the slasher franchise, or the slasher subgenre. So a bunch of movies came out after this that were definitely inspired by like the fact that Scream had done so well. So from like 97 to 98, we get I Know What You Did Last Summer, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, The Faculty, Urban Legend, The Curve. So this like started a whole thing right around the same time. And so yeah, it's like a really like a cultural phenomenon in a couple different ways. But okay, so and just so it's been said, we're going to spoil the entire film in this video. Okay, we haven't yet, but we will, and it's going to come fast, so be ready. But watch the movie first and then come to this video if you're like not so sure. Okay, so America. I had all these movies in EEKtober and I was like, I don't know, which ones are you thinking? And you were like, Scream. So what makes you love this one?
I was like, Scream, please, definitely. I think because it's so meta, and it's got, I think, like a lot of pop culture references, and it sort of makes fun of itself, and the whole like horror genre, I think is like like it's a little bit lighter for me, and I was able to watch it because of that. I can't watch like anything that's super scary because it's like, demonic and all that stuff. This is like it's lighter. I think it's fun. And of course, spoiler, like you can't trust men, and it's like, oh, the boyfriend did it. It's like it's so obvious, and I'm into it. I really liked it.
Yeah. So we know that you've seen the sequels. I think talking about the meta piece of this, we're going to every EEKtober review has been approached a little differently because every film feels pretty different from each other. This one, we're going to take sort of a meta approach to talking about it. And I think the meta part of it is what makes this movie so impactful and the entire franchise, because like if you think about the whole franchise, and not that I'm not trying to spoil the future films for this, but like when you set the tone with this one and then you're like, we're going to do an entire movie that's really self-aware and very clear about it,
Mhm.
and then you start making a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5, you have to build on that somehow, and you sort of write yourself into a corner with it, and they didn't. Like every film you're like, now look what they did here.
They do such a good job. It only gets better, honestly. Like the sequels always suck, and then I was like, I love the sequel. And then I watched the third one. I was like, oh my God, this is so good. And I've watched every movie since because it doesn't like crash, and
And
it
it
does it
feels like
really
it
well.
should. It feels like you shouldn't be able to keep this gag going, and then
Yeah,
it
it's like how
does, and
far can they really take it? And they do.
yeah.
They do a super good job.
Yeah, so creative, so inventive, especially when you've got different people like running the different movies, that they're able to like drop into the same exact vibe of it that they did for the first film is just outrageous. I also just like as a general nod before we get into any scenes, um Nev Campbell, who had been in Party of Five, she had been in some stuff that was really well known, but then like this took her in like that she's also, well, she's just Scream, like she's done all this other stuff and then she's like the Scream legend. And she's probably my favorite final girl, when it comes to, because in slasher films especially, you'll see this trope of like the last woman standing is the final girl and she's sort of your hero. But she was so smart, and she, like she's just so such an emblem.
Hmm.
And I love that this film has that.
She's so badass. Like, I love her. And I didn't know her from anything else before, but she's just cool, and she's I don't know, like she's just a cool girl. I really like her. And she's kind of ruthless, at the we'll see that at the end when, like in the final scene. She's doesn't take anything from anyone.
Yeah, I mean, it's just she's so capable and she's smart and she has compassion, but she gets it done. And like what's so funny is I've seen some sort of like Comic-Con like panels with the folks from Scream, and she herself, she's like, yeah, I don't do scary movies. And it's just like she's so comfortable in who she is when she's at these conventions, and it feels like it comes across in the films also, which I think is one of the reasons why people love her so much. And the other thing I want to say, and I think it's worth noting, like there's an age gap here between America and I, so I think that actually makes this more fun, because this was like, I very much remember this coming out and America came to it a lot later. But like one thing I remember is that this was just instantly iconic, like immediately. You knew what it was right away. And I think for you, America, coming in, what's the vibe of it?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know Ghostface. Obviously, I knew Ghostface. Kids used to dress up as him for Halloween all the time. And I didn't connect it to the Scream franchise at all. I just really wasn't into scary movies like that. Wasn't aware of what bad guy was where. I still couldn't tell you where Freddy Krueger is, or, did I even say that right? Is it Krueger or
Krueger,
Kruger?
yeah.
Kruger. Okay, yeah. See, I don't even know the names.
It's all
But like
good.
I can tell you what movie that guy belongs to. So I had no idea, but I knew like this face was like iconic, right? And I knew the phone scene was iconic as well. The opening credit scene. I'm like, "Oh, I've seen this before. I don't know where it goes, but the iconic blonde wig on or blonde bob on Drew Barrymore is like such an iconic scene." And I was actually wondering, I'm like, oh, I wish I was around in 1996 to go to the movies and see this live, because I heard that while they were marketing and promoting the movie, they were sort of like trying to make it seem like Drew Barrymore was the final girl, and they were slapping her on all the posters, and that's why she's the face and all of that. And then they sort of like tricked you when, she's gone in the
Yes.
first 10 minutes.
That's totally what happens. And this is a perfect set. This is why you're like, debuted at #1 on the podcasting scene. So yeah, Drew Barrymore, just by putting her name in the movie, you imply that she's going to have a pretty significant role in this film for the duration of the film. And so when she's off in the first however many minutes, you're like, okay, it catches you like, it's not the first horror film to have a death at the beginning of the film, but I mean, such a big, like A-list celebrity, like a
Like she was
draw
a
for
star,
the
right?
film.
Like by then
Yeah.
she was big.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, she was like a major child actor.
Mhm.
I mean, we're talking like ET level child actor. So by the time she's this age, like she's done a lot of stuff. She's probably bankrolling some, like there are probably some films that got funding because she was in them.
Wow.
That's the status. And then so to say she's in your film and then be like, for 5 minutes, like it's so tricky and risky, and like this really funny bet that they made on the movie. But yeah, like everything about what she does ends up being really iconic, because like we instantly set the meta tone of the film. It's referencing a lot of other horror movies. It's making a game out of killing her.
Mhm.
Like there's just so many things about it that you come away from her part and you're like, yep, that's what this movie is. So like, we get the what's your favorite scary movie straight away. And people ask Nev Campbell this in conventions, I guess, all the time. She's like, yeah, none.
She probably
She
gets
has
it all the
like,
time too. She's so annoyed.
she has one answer that she gives like every time, and it's like, I can't even remember what the answer is, but she's like, I'll just say this again. And it's like, she's like, I don't do these.
Yeah.
um which makes you really think about how different it must be on set when you're making them versus what it's like to like watch them as a consumer of it. um but we're gonna get in this scene as well, we're gonna get references to a bunch, like the voice on the phone is going to make it a game. Why she stays on the phone with this person, I don't know. Like if it were me, I'm like, wrong number, I don't even answer.
Yeah, no, if I don't know the number, I will not answer. And this is where, okay, well, she didn't have a cell phone. She had a landline phone, and that's different. But
Mhm.
they've
Yeah,
done
you
a
don't
good job
have
of
caller
incorporating.
ID.
Yeah, they don't have caller ID, and they've done a good job of incorporating cell phones into the modern movies, and the more modern films. But yeah,
They were a little confused about how cell phones work in this film. We were still working it out. So it was like, okay. Yeah, it's something that they had to grow with that into the franchise, which I think it was helped them to like sort of continue to make it more meta in new ways, because communications were different. But yeah, so we're going to get references to Halloween, the guy in the white mask who stalks babysitters. This guy's doing like a quiz with her of about scary movies. And then we reference Nightmare on Elm Street for the first time. We're going to get a lot of Nightmare on Elm Street references because Wes Craven did this film and that film. And they throw shade straight away, which again also helps. They say the first was good, but the rest sucked. This is like, okay. Like we know what's happening here. Also, I think it's worth, for those who are like really into scary movies or want to learn about them, or you want to find some other things that are being featured in EEKtober, this whole thing kind of is a little bit of a nod to When a Stranger Calls from the 70s. So like that has like a really powerful opening 20 minutes, And if you just see the first 20 minutes, you can feel like you saw the whole film, but it's very much a phone call situation happening there too. So I think like one of the iconic lines from this is like Drew Barrymore walking around the kitchen and then like thinking this is a cool enough conversation and then hearing, I want to know who I'm looking at, and being like, I'm in a house full of glass windows.
So many doors too. It makes me so mad. I'm so anxious with her. I'm like, oh my God, why does she have to be rich and have this big house and have all these doors?
People across America just getting drapes everywhere. Run on like blinds and drapes at the store. And you're right, like the houses in this movie are so like the property is amazing. There's just like farmland everywhere.
So yeah.
Oh
Middle of nowhere too. Yeah.
Middle of nowhere. Very important to set the stage for a horror movie as well. So as we're going through, the voice now is like, no, you never say who's there. You might as well just go investigate a strange noise or something. So again, we're like setting this pace of like, we're going to get Randy later telling us the rules of horror films. And like, it's just setting us up for that. Like, here are things that you do and do not do in scary movies if you want to live. So yeah, basically we've got all that happening there. We're going to get boyfriend Steve tied up and killed. She's playing a trivia game. The question she gets wrong is the entire spoiler of Friday the 13th. Like, sorry if you didn't see that before you saw this, because it's given away. And then the bonus question is, what door am I at? And I feel like they play with that a lot in like the future iterations of the future sequels of this franchise. So we're going to get Drew Barrymore getting killed as her parents are coming up, or I should say Casey. So it's just like, you know, she's strung up. It's so violent. It's so like, I don't know. It's just, and then she's gone.
Yeah, honestly, those first 20 minutes, so iconic. That's the one part where I have to like sort of cover my eyes because it does get gory. So the first time I watched the movie, I think it was on like Freeform or like it was on like cable. So they didn't show that part. So when I was like watching it again on my own on like HBO, I see the guts and I'm like, ew, I don't remember this part. Maybe it is scary, scarier than I remember. But
yeah, I guess
yeah.
that is one of the goriest parts of the film. But you persist. It's because they tricked you with the edited version, which is ironic.
That's how it goes though. And if anybody who doesn't like gory stuff or seeing guts, find like a Freeform or TNT, I think online, whatever. I think one of those platforms has like the censored version, which
So
I think.
this is like so funny that you say this, because the very next scene we're going to meet Billy for the first time and he's going to sneak into Sydney's bedroom, and like the whole thing is that she's like, she's not putting out at all. She's a virgin. Like, I don't even know what if they're doing really anything at this point. And he's like, yeah, I was watching The Exorcist and it made me think of you. She's like, I don't even know. Like, this is the red flag that you needed, folks.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Okay, but anyway, so he has the whole scene is revolving around the like edited for television version of that film and the ratings levels and the ratings level of their relationship. So it's one of those things that like, even if you come to it later, we still have those ratings, so it feels like, oh yeah, I know what this joke is. But yeah, so I guess it's even funnier knowing that you came to it because you saw an edited version.
PG version. So I was like, oh, this is fine. This is what a slasher is. I can do this.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. So, okay, we're going to go to Woodsboro High School. We need to see the school for the first time. There's a ton of media around because 2 kids were just killed. And we're going to meet Gail Weathers, Courtney Cox, who had been in, Friends was already like, you know, like it had been running for a couple years at this point. So people knew Courtney Cox. This was a big get. But we're going to meet Tatum, Sydney's friend. She's going to learn about Casey and Steve. And then we're going to start dropping this reference to something really dark happening in Sydney's past, like in the past year. And they're just going to keep getting us little pieces of this. So they're like, oh, because you're the daughter of ... Like, they're just going to make us wait for that. But you can tell there's some backstory here where people are like kind of handling her with kid gloves. And we're going to meet Deputy Dewey too, who is David Arquette. And in real life, Courtney Cox and David Arquette ended up getting married. They met, I think they met on this set. So it's just so much happening.
I think I forgot about that. I think I might have known about that when I was first looking up the movie. So they were actually together.
They married.
Divorce?
They did.
I'm assuming they divorced, right?
I think they were together for a pretty long time though before they divorced.
I love them.
And but they're like, after they divorced, they still did Scream movies together. So it's like,
on them recently. That's right. Well, that's good that they have like a good relationship, right? As it should be. They're adults. Like,
yeah.
Good for them. But I love it. It's like, you know, there's all this stuff going around Sydney. It's very dark. And then you have like the romance in doing Gale. And I'm like rooting for them the entire time.
Yeah, when they actually start flirting, it's like, oh, come on, get these two together, stat. We're gonna meet a whole bunch of the whole gang of friends pretty much outside of the school. They're gonna basically go through like, it wasn't an interrogation, but they questioned all the kids in the school to try to get more information. And so all the kids are gonna get together and we're gonna see Sydney and Billy again. We're gonna see Tatum, her friend, and then we're gonna see Stu, who's dating Tatum, and we're going to see Randy. We find out Stu used to date Casey before she dumped him for Steve. So, okay, that's like, oh, like we're already planting some things here. So Matthew Lillard is such a bold choice in this film.
I love him.
Okay, yeah. I was going to ask, like, he's big. He's very big in this film.
Yeah. Was he big in the 90s though? Because I know him from the Scooby-Doo movies. He's my Shaggy. But that was much later. I think that was 2001.
I know him from this.
From this?
Yeah.
He's so unhinged. Like you can tell just the way he acts and talks and his mannerisms. Oh, like, you know,
and I've always seen him since in stuff that's more serious. And he does that well. So it's like, it was such a, like, people were constantly quoting lines from him because it's just so over the top. It's like it either really doesn't land for you or it lands perfectly. We'll get to more with Randy later, but so we've kind of met just about everybody. We need to start like sort of moving things forward here. So we're going to get, again, references. We're going to get this like cat people-esque jump scare with the bus rolling in. So it's a small detail, but it reminded me of that film. And then Sid's going to get home. She's on the phone with Tatum. She's like, so much deja vu. And you're like, but why? What's the deja vu for? And then they've finally like gotten us to that point. So we're going to see her watching media coverage from Gale Weathers. We're going to find out that a year ago, her mother was raped and murdered in the town square, or left in the town square. So it puts a lot of this into context that she'd be like pretty traumatized about what's happening right now. And then one of the things that this film starts doing here and is going to be really played with throughout the franchise is like I'm going to open a door so that the audience can't see what's behind it and just leave it there for a while. And you're like, ah.
Like something's behind it. They do that so much and they get me every time. They can do it 5 times in the movie and I'll still be like, oh no, what's gonna appear? What's behind the door? But
it's crazy how you know exactly what they're doing and it still somehow creates tension.
It's crazy. I love it.
So good. Okay, so Tatum's gonna come over, but first Sydney's gonna get a call from The Voice. Do you like scary movies, Sydney? It's like, oh no, that's his shtick. And then but this is where I sort of fall in love with Sydney because first of all, she's like, I don't do scary movies. They're all the same. Some big-breasted girl just runs up the stairs instead of going out the front door, and then she's going to do that in like 3 minutes.
Yep.
But he's like, I'm calling from your porch. She's like, oh yeah, and she goes out, and I'm like, I would never, ever. But what a ballsy move.
She seems so self-aware, right? But she's also that was dumb. Like, are you kidding me? Why would you do that? Like, especially with the whole, you mentioned, like, we figure out like her story and her background, and the 1-year anniversary, I think, of her mom's death is coming up. So she should be on edge. And instead, she's like, oh, yeah, shut up. Bye. You know,
like, I just think you're Randy. It's fine. Don't worry.
Like, what kind of friends does she have that she thinks they're like pranking her like that?
Yeah, I mean, some compassion, folks. I mean, when you got a boyfriend like Billy,
Oh,
I guess it makes
exactly.
sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're gonna see, no, but Ghostface is actually there, but he's hiding in the closet. So when she comes back in, he's gonna pop out of the closet. They're gonna throw hands a little bit. She's gonna run upstairs instead of at the front door. She's gonna barricade herself in her room. This part I find really interesting because he cut her phone line, so she doesn't have a dial tone, but she has this thing on her computer that, even though I'm from this time, I don't remember this. It's like a deaf typer that connects to 911. And
Yeah.
I don't
Is that a thing?
remember. I guess it was, if they're saying it was a thing, but I don't remember it. And I don't remember if any of the sequels have this as like a thing that she did on the side. Like I don't know. I don't know who in her life needed this.
Yeah, I don't really
Um,
remember, but I do remember her typing 911
yeah.
and then being like, "What do you need? What's your emergency?" Like, what?
It feels like a mid 90s PSA to the world. Like, get on it because
Like an ad.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. We're gonna get Billy at the window for a jump scare, and then that he's with her, he hears her screaming. The phone falls out of his pocket though. So now we're instantly like, ooh, it could be Billy. So we're
Hmm.
just looking at him sideways for the whole film. Good news is Billy and Stu already worked this out. They're gonna throw some red herrings in there for us. So yeah, she's gonna run out of the house. Dewey's there. Billy's gonna get arrested, and then we're gonna see her at the police station. Everybody thinks it's her dad, but they are going to they're going to question Billy because he's there. And they're like, what are you doing with a cellular telephone, son? Like, anybody who has a cellular telephone must be suspicious. um it's so okay,
So
so
dated. They're like, "Why do you have a cell phone? Like, you're
yeah.
not, you
Well,
know."
and also to use the word the cellular like every time is like
I don't
uh
remember that. That's funny. I gotta next time I watch it.
yeah.
I didn't catch on that.
Oh my
Maybe.
goodness. Yeah. So okay, watching it, being younger than me, not from that time period, like what are you thinking when you see stuff like this that's outdated?
Well, I'm like, oh, this must have been so fun. Like, no phones, right? We always say, like, oh, it must have been so fun in the 90s. Like, they were all just living in the moment. And then I guess you watch scary movies and you're like, oh, this would have been solved with a cell phone. Like, this whole thing, she could have just dialed taken pictures, like, I don't know, something, dialed the police, find my iPhone, because if her and Billy are dating and her and Stu are besties and they should all have each other on Find My iPhone and she would know where they all are. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't think about it too much. I like to just, immerse myself in the experience and in the time. And I was like, oh, it's the 90s. It's kind of funny. It's a part of it. And I think it makes it more interesting.
Yeah, and it's also kind of cool because tech was changing fast at this point. So like things are wildly, like radically changing for the sequels that come after this. And it's like it was really that fast. So like they did the best they could here to work with what they had. But you're in this one, you're like, okay, check the phone records. Like that's a thing we can do with cell phones or cellular phones. Like I'm also thinking, why aren't the cops like getting DNA? They have a mask. It's
Right?
like where it all falls apart for me in this film, but it's okay. Like it's
I
like
always
this.
just assumed it was because it was like a small town in California and maybe they didn't have the equipment, for it, and I don't know.
That feels like a really good answer. I'm gonna go with that. That's my new way to
Well, that
solve
was
this
my thing. I was
problem
like,
for
oh,
myself.
I don't know much about California, but they look like if they're in the middle of nowhere in like Northern California.
They
So
do.
I was like, they probably just don't have.
So they don't dust fingerprints or like fit. Well, I guess there would. Well, you have to put the mask on somehow. Anyway, oh my goodness, it's such a good answer. That's my new. That's the move from now on. Okay, perfect. Solving problems left and right. America Lopez. Okay. So I love that we get just all of these little nods to how Dewey is so young, and like Tatum doesn't take him at all seriously. She gives him the old, I'm sorry, Deputy Dewey boy, but we're ready to go in front of his
Looks
whole.
so old to me. I never got that because I'm like, this man's like 40. What do you mean? Like, he looks like a grown adult. And she's like, maybe it's the mustache that makes him look a little
It's
bit old.
probably.
but you know, I love a good mustache. But it was like, I don't know. Yeah, she's like, oh, whatever. I figured, you know, they're like siblings, so they're like bickering a lot. Yeah, I love
Yeah,
Julie.
I mean, it's so cute. And it's like part of the reason why things work so well with him and Gail, because she takes him, at first she's using him, but she eventually takes him seriously. And it's like, finally, somebody in my life. Um, we're gonna see that there's been conflict between Gail and Sydney, because Gail wrote a book about Sydney. We'll find out a little bit more about this, like in a couple scenes, but she wrote a book about Sydney, and Sydney's gonna slug her in the face, because I get this is like the first time she's really been able to encounter her since then. But we're gonna get more. This film just sort of like drips a little bit of information at a time, and you always know it's important. But they actually layered in a surprising amount of stuff that would fuel their future movies. So we are gonna get Sid sleeping at Tatum's. Billy's gonna call her from jail. Uh, well, she gets a call from the voice. We don't know that it's Billy yet.
Okay.
And Billy's in jail, and the voice is like, you fingered the wrong guy again. And she's like, oh man, so it's probably what the thing with Gail was about.
Yeah, but then at this point, you're like, oh, this clears Billy.
It does
Like
clear
he's
Billy.
in jail.
Yep.
Like I love the movie because it's not only like a slasher. To me, it was like a mystery,
Yeah.
especially watching the PG version. And I'm just trying to figure out like who could it be. And at one point, I'm like, oh, at this point, I'm like, it's not Billy. Okay, like I'm not even gonna look at him anymore. Who else?
This film, for people who are like want to explore more in the horror genre, there's a whole subgenre called giallo, which is like a kind of esoteric sort of, like, a lot of the movies are like Italian language films, but they're very whodunit. They're more whodunit, but they're slasher. And I
Okay.
feel like this is like tipped a little more towards the other edge, but it has a little bit of that feel because they're making you like work the clues.
Yeah.
It's not like a Michael Myers where like Michael did it, you know, like
Hello.
like clearly it was him, you know, like Freddy Krueger did it, you know, like you always know in those movies who did it. But with this, it's like, ooh, we're gonna make you hunt this down. Um, Okay, so we're going to see Sid go back to school, and we're going to get way more information now. Gail wrote a book because she actually thinks that the guy that Sid said killed her mom didn't do it. She thinks that he was framed. His name is Cotton Weary. And she thinks, oh my God, wait a minute. So maybe the killer's on the loose now. So Gail's like, ooh, there's a story here. I need to investigate. But we're also learning information that is going to be really good for them to have like a Scream 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, yep. They're planting a lot of cool stuff in here. We're going to see kids pranking with the ghost face mask because, of course, that's what kids are going to do. Sid's going to hide in the bathroom, and she's going to overhear some people talking about her. And I think so. There's a couple references here. There's a girl who they don't know Sid's there, and one of them says teen suicide is out. Homicide is a healthier therapeutic expression, according to Ricky Lake. So Ricky Lake was a talk show host of like seedy, like, you know, like it was your sort of like tabloid talk show kind of thing. And so this is not a good source. But also teen suicide is out makes me think of Heathers. Have you heard of Heathers?
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't seen it in a while, but
okay.
Winona Ryder, right?
Yep, Shannon Doherty. Yeah, Christian Bale. Like, not Christian
That's
Bale.
right.
Christian Slater.
Slater,
Is the word that I wanted. Sorry, Christian Bale. Not your movie. Yeah. So like that was all like sort of a combo of like murdering and teen suicide, and you know, like there was a whole vibe around that, and I feel like this is speaking to that. And then we're going to get Ghostface battling her in the bathroom because he was there listening to all this too. And she's got skills.
Yeah. Oh my God. I would not. I just die at that point. If there's Ghostface attacking me, I wouldn't fight back like that. She's so brave.
I mean, what do you do, really? Like, I mean, in a bathroom, like, where do you go? I'm
like, that's it. This is it for me.
Like,
Goodbye, world.
Yeah. Pretty much the same for me too, which is why, having watched so many of these films, I try not to put myself in situations like this.
We know better now.
I don't want to test these skills for myself because I know I'm going to fall very short. Okay, so if you made this movie starring us, very short film. We're Drew Barrymore.
Or exactly.
Yeah.
Or just hang
Uh,
up the phone. That's it.
oh my gosh. So we're gonna see, okay, media are really swarming. We're gonna get Gail and Deputy Dewey meeting for the first time, and they flirt so much. She's talking about the guys in her age bracket and just out of his age bracket being into her. He's like, I was in that age bracket for so long.
I love it. I love the flirting. I'm there like giggling, kicking my feet.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. There is okay, so we're gonna find out that it's like possible that Sid's dad is a suspect here. And it definitely seemed like that, even in the police station before.
Mhm.
But now we're gonna get to like a whole like huge second act of the third act of the film, really, if Drew Barrymore is the first one. So we're gonna see that there's a party planned for Stu's house. Because if you're gonna set a curfew and you're gonna give people, time off of school, and like school's not happening, it's too dangerous, great party time. And what better place to do this than at Stu's house? So that's the plan. Everybody like vacates the school, which gives the killer enough time to kill the principal. Oh my
Henry
gosh.
Winkler. I love him.
Protect Henry Winkler at all costs. There's this really like they did this cute little nod to A Nightmare on Elm Street here. He's like hearing noises, he's going out to investigate, and then what he sees is a janitor outside who's wearing a full-on Freddy Krueger sweatshirt.
That's right. Yeah.
That's exactly how that character is dressed. And it's just like, oh man. So okay, so he's gonna get, we're gonna do the behind the door thing, and then he's gonna get killed. There's a reflection of like somebody like getting ready to stab him in his eyeball, which is not an exact reference, but makes me think of Strangers on a Train, which is an Alfred Hitchcock film. A really good one, actually, for those who are into that kind of thing. Okay, so we're gonna get schools out for summer. We're going to get Sid sort of like questioning whether maybe she wasn't right about Cotton Weary. Not sure. Like it's
Mhm.
all getting a little unclear now that it's happening again. And then we're going to see that a voyeur is watching them, and this is like very Michael Myers, like who's watching them for this whole thing. And then they make this reference to, I mean, this isn't like some sort of a Wes Carpenter flick. I think they mashed up Wes Craven and John Carpenter there, so director of this film and director of Halloween. I think that's what they were doing there. It's like imagine a world where this was like one person.
Yeah.
um
Okay. I see that. I'm sure it was intentional.
I'm sure. Oh yeah. Okay, so we're gonna get a ton of meta stuff now at Randy's workplace. So he works at a movie store. They're playing Frankenstein. He's gonna confirm that Stu's gonna confirm that Randy is coming to the party. People are requesting horror movies with him the whole time. They're like, "Can I get The Howling?" Billy is standing in the horror section. Randy's like, "I can't believe this guy would stand in the horror section. Like, what a way to make yourself look."
You're a suspect. Why would you're a suspect. Why would you be standing in the horror film? I love Randy too. Like he's bringing in all the lore, all dropping in all these different movie facts. He's the expert, right? He's the horror movie expert, and he's so cool.
And he's like he's aggressively meta. Like he's
Yeah.
so meta, he puts it straight into the dialogue, which is so fun. And like as the franchise goes on, like they always have to have somebody doing this
Mhm.
to help like move along what they're trying to accomplish in the film. So he's really fun. I think does it land for you if like you aren't really into the genre?
I got it. Yeah, I think so. Also, I love Randy. Like it, yeah, it's so obvious, it's so in your face that I just think it's so on brand for his character though. He's like the nerdy, works at the video store, like friend, right? Who's got all the facts, and it's just very chaotic and very like paranoid, but it works for him. And at one point I'm like, oh, maybe it could be him and they're trying to throw us off, right? And then eventually we find out that no, he really is just like that.
Well, and like he's definitely pining for Sid the entire film, and he's like so annoyed that she's with Billy. Like if nothing else, he just wants Billy to be the killer so he can get him out of the way so he can be with Sydney. Which Stu is like, that's never gonna happen. Not gonna happen. But yeah, so we've got Billy there, and Randy just goes off. He's like, look, the cops do not watch enough horror movies. This stuff is standard. There's a plot, there's a formula. Like, watch Prom Night. That's like your basic Jamie Lee Curtis scream flick. He's like, there's always a reason to kill your girlfriend. And he's like, maybe, like, what's the motive for that? I don't know, maybe Sydney wouldn't have sex with him. It's like, yeah, that's happening.
He's figured it out.
He's nailed it. So Stu is like, I don't know, I think it's her dad, because he wants to like throw suspicion off of himself and off of Billy. Randy's like, nope, her dad's probably dead. Like, that's not a character we're going to see.
It's so funny because we don't see the dad ever, like the
until the very end of the film.
Until the very end, yeah. He's just not. Yeah.
He's referenced so much, but he's like, yeah, that's just a red herring. It's totally Billy. Billy comes up. He's like, yeah, you were speaking so loud. And like, how do we know you're not the killer? Randy's like, well, I totally could be. Like, that would be a great outcome for a movie. I'd be a prime suspect. He's like, motive, what? It's the millennium. Motives are incidental.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a classic quote.
I don't like, the millennium was such a big thing.
I'm sure.
Oh my God. It was like there was this perception that there was going to be a clear before and after we hit the year 2000, like on the dot, like midnight on the year 2000. Like it was, and it was
heard about that, but was it real? Like, did people really believe it?
Yes.
Like everything was supposed to reset. What was the name of it? There's like a name. Yeah, just Y2K, like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and people had Y2K parties for the end of the world. I mean, like, it's like any conspiracy theory, like, but it was much more widely a curiosity than the average conspiracy theory, where like kind of everybody had a Y2K party, regardless of how you felt about the situation. Yeah. And then at midnight, people were like, okay, all right, we're fine. It's all good. The clock's reset. No.
We had a similar thing in high school when like 2012 was coming up. It was like that kind of like feeling like, oh my God, something's gonna happen on 2012. And then
why 2012? What am I missing here?
Is it like a religion? I don't know. I'm not super religious, but I think it might have been like a biblical, like religious thing, maybe.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. I was a child, but
okay.
I feel like it's a similar vibe.
All right, I'm just hearing about this one. I mean, I got to get with the program. Okay, so like, so cool. Like, when to have these moments where it's just like, it was such a thing. Like, what's gonna happen after this moment? And then like to be able to separate things into a before and after, which in real time, actually, there was no change. Like, no change whatsoever. We all lived our lives, but like in how we perceived it, it was so like, so just to have Randy bringing that in here, we're gonna get the town, like everything's closing for curfew. We're going to get a song we hear a couple times in this film, Red Right Hand by Nick Cave. It feels like a classic Halloween song, and I really associate it with this film. The Dewey's talking to a cop. They actually traced the calls to Sydney's dad, which clearly like Billy and Stu have been at it again, but we don't know that. And they're sure it's him because tomorrow's the anniversary of his wife's death. He's probably unhinged. We need to find Sydney's dad. And Dewey's going to stay close to Sid just to keep an eye on her and protect her. So we're going to get people driving to the party. And I feel like the whole, like, it's a pretty long stretch of the film that happens after this, but like, this is like Stu's house is where everything's going on. It's like, and you just like remember Stu, looking at Stu. They picked such a cool house for this.
Such a cool house. I think it's like on a hill, right? And it's like overlooking like the valley, and it's super pretty, but it's super ominous because it's a scary movie and you're like, oh, what's gonna happen here? But I feel like looking back, it sort of feels like Scream is like a one night. It's obviously not. This is over several days, but so much of it takes place just this one night.
Just at this party. And like the house is cool. Like, it has so many different rooms and so many like weird connections between the rooms for people to evade each other. And like, I don't know, we're just constantly finding a new angle of this house that we never saw before, which I think a lot of times when you have a horror movie that's in a house, like you run out of things to do if the house isn't interesting enough. Like the second you get people to an exposed area, they're dead. So like you have to keep them moving. And this film, like they picked just the perfect location for
So many,
this.
yeah, cubbies, there's closets, there's the basement, the garage, like it's all different parts. And also, again, it's in the middle of nowhere, of course.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like there's no neighbors. Yeah.
So we're going to get the people who've gone to this middle of nowhere location. We've got the people who are going to the party. Dewey is going to drop off Sid and Tatum, which is like, know your role. It's curfew. Like you're supposed to be a man of the law.
He
Gail,
doesn't
though,
care.
is there with her news truck because she knows things are happening. And so she's gonna sidle up to Dewey and be like, let me come into the house with you because she wants to plant a camera in there. So which they're gonna do, but unfortunately the camera's on 30-second delay, which is gonna come into play for us later. So we're gonna get tons of Randy stuff in this party. He's gonna entertain everybody with a little game. How many sequels are in each franchise? The Evil Dead, Hellraisers. He just keeps going through it all. Like if you tried to watch all of the films they reference in this movie, you'd be here forever. Sydney is looking through other films that he brought, and they're all Jamie Lee Curtis films. They're The Fog, Terror Train, Prom Night. They're all on VHS. Aw, it was so cute. Just put little tapes in. You have to rewind them later. Please be kind. Please rewind. So yeah, that was such a thing. And so Jamie Lee Curtis. One of the things I love about this is like, it's so cool to think that Jamie Lee Curtis was like the final girl, the scream queen when Neve Campbell came around, and then the second Neve Campbell was in this movie, she was like put at the level of Jamie Lee Curtis. And so it's just like, oh, like, you know, like she was instantly in the conversation with this person who was referenced throughout this movie.
Yeah, it's so cool. Also, just this one movie like did it. So you mentioned that it was iconic from like its release. It's
Pretty
crazy.
much.
Also, I looked up when it was released and it was like December 20th. I think it was around Christmas time, which is like, so I would expect it to be released like during Halloween time, but I mean, whatever. That's funny.
Yeah, it's weird. They release scary movies all different times a year. It's kind of a strange thing. But yeah, this, I mean, especially because Ghostface is so like it's very clear what you're looking at, and it's like, it was sold in stores everywhere, and it was like in the movie it was being sold in stores everywhere, and then in real life it was being sold in stores everywhere. So like people definitely knew what was happening here. I think it really helped that Neve Campbell had been in Party of Five, because it was a kind of a long enough running TV show. It was like a drama, sort of like a primetime drama,
Okay.
about a bunch of kids who didn't have parents anymore. And Matthew Fox, who was in
From
Lost.
Lost. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
I was like, Pretty Five, it sounds familiar. I'm watching Lost right now for the first time
Ooh.
ever. So I think I looked up what other stuff he was in, and Party of Five. That's right.
So
Okay.
Party Five is very different from Lost, but he's like a very important character. He's like the oldest, and he ends up having to sort of like take care of all of the kids whose parents are now not, I think they die at the beginning or they've already died, and he's like become their guardian. And so but he's not that much older than him. So it's like this really interesting sort of familial drama. It's like more than a teen drama, but a teen drama at the same time.
Okay. And it was
So
popular.
yeah, it was popular for sure. And I think that's how you end up getting Matthew Fox in Lost. And then after Lost, I think he's like, I've kind of done enough. Like he was on TV for so
I'd
many
get my
years.
check and just retire. Like,
Yeah, he had been at it for a while. He did some movies after that for sure. He might still be doing some things, but he's like, we don't see him as much on TV because it's like such a, especially stuff like that. It was like 20 plus episodes a season, and they were like constantly filming. So, but yes, okay. So that's a little bit of the backstory on that. But yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis, Neve Campbell in the same conversation. Now I prefer Neve. What can I say? Okay, Stu's gonna ask Tatum to get him a beer. We want to kill another person here. And meanwhile, he's gonna be occupied by getting the door. Gail Weathers is there. She's gonna plant the camera. So we're gonna see what's up with Tatum. She's getting the beer. So many references here. We're we're gonna get some fun with automatic garage door openers and cat doors. Uh, Ghost, she again, another person who thinks Ghostface is Randy, and
Mm-hmm.
Ghostface is not Randy. But she's like totally making fun of the situation. She's like, "Oh, this is cute. What movie is this from? I spit on your garage," which this is a reference that I need to give people a trigger warning about, because if you go to watch I Spit on Your Grave, it is a horror movie that involves like the longest series of rape scenes I have ever,
Oh my God.
like, know it going in. If you're doing the home game of watching all the films that are referenced here, just that one, I think need, like people need to know, like be careful around that one.
Hmm.
But yeah, so Tatum references that one, and then she's like, "Don't kill me, Mr. Ghostface. I want to be in the sequel."
Iconic.
Aw.
Another iconic line forever. And of course, she doesn't make the sequel.
Sure doesn't. She's not going
Dun,
to live
dun.
past like another minute. Cut Casper, that's a wrap.
Yeah.
She what's your favorite kill in this movie?
My favorite kill.
If you measure things in such a way. That might be a
Melissa,
very horror movie
who do you
way.
think I am?
Like I have answers to those questions, but I need to remember that not all normal humans do. Um
I guess the one that I mean, Casey's at the very
mm,
beginning would be like the most iconic. Other than that, yeah, I feel like the principal is eh. Later we see, Gail and her assistant, like her assistant. Yeah, I don't think any of them really stand out to me. So the girlies, so Tatum's and Casey's deaths
yeah,
would be
yeah,
my favorites.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. As
That's what we're
favorite
calling
kills go.
them.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tatum's is just like
It's
eh,
weird.
so weird. Yeah.
Ugh, like
It's like excellent use of the house. Like this is
it's
a
so
garage
slow.
with a cat door in
Yeah,
it.
it's so slow too. Like you feel it coming and it's just she's going up and up. And I'm like, first off, is that how it really works? Like
It
she's
feels
got
a
to flip
thousand
over.
percent preventable,
Yeah. You would
like
think it just wouldn't move with like 100 pounds holding it down. But
sure. Yeah. And I feel like, can you not just hunch your shoulders and squeeze back out? If you got in, it's not like putting on a ring that you can't take off. Like
yeah.
I don't know. Um, but despite all that, I mean, it's fun to know that she's not getting out of the situation. And like it's such a violent, like kind of moment where you're just like, wow. Um, so she's just gonna be stuck literally in the garage door for the
The
entirety
rest
of
of
the
the
film.
night. Yeah, they
That's
just
it.
forget about her.
Yeah. They're
No,
like, where's Tatum? I don't know.
yeah, I think they might have mentioned it. I'm like, I don't know. She's going down getting beer
Oh
still.
my gosh. But that's the beauty of like having a house that has so many places to be, because they can go through the whole film and not know how much danger they're in. Because we get this kill and we know everybody's in danger, but everybody else is like, oh, it's a party. So okay, people are starting to leave for curfew. But Billy arrives at this point because he doesn't care about curfew. Why would he care about curfew? Really. He wants to talk to Sid. They're gonna go to the bedroom. Randy is like, oh, Randy. He actually says, "What's Leatherface doing here?" Which is the villain from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Um, and Randy knows exactly what Billy's about. Okay.
He knows his stuff, obviously, and he knows he's on to him.
I'm wondering if you got this reference. Randy is like, well, there goes my shot when he like goes upstairs with Sid, when Billy goes upstairs with Sid, and Stu says, as if
Yeah, I didn't realize that it was a reference,
it's
but
from
hello, Clueless.
Clueless. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Which is weird. Like they just pile in so many references here. Clueless was just like also instantly massive.
yeah.
Alicia Silverstone was like the it girl right away. And I always got a feeling like she's kind of Nev Campbellish, actually. Like I always got a feeling that she was like, yeah, I'm just here to like save the environment and like protect dogs, and like she just wasn't. It wasn't her thing.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, besides this movie, I really can't. I don't remember anything else that she was in. I'm talking about Clueless. I'm talking about Alicia, but
Yeah, yeah. She's in some stuff, but like if you're only in Clueless, everybody knows you from Clueless. You know, like it's just yeah. But so okay, so we're gonna find out that Gail's assistant Kenneth is watching the footage from the party. It's got that delay. That's going to be helpful for us later when we kill him. um, Sid and Billy, she's saying things like, you know, I don't want to turn out like my mom. I don't want to be the bad seed. That's another horror movie reference. He's going to give her one of his own. He's like, well, you know, like he makes reference to Jodie Foster in Silence of the Lambs having flashbacks of her dead father. He's like, it's all one big great movie. You can't pick your genre. She says she wants to be a Meg Ryan movie or maybe a good porno, and they're gonna do it. And so she's no longer gonna be a virgin. But yeah, I mean, like Meg Ryan had a lot of really big films that were coming out earlier in the film. They reference like I'd rather have Meg Ryan play me. I definitely wouldn't want Tori Spelling. And Tori Spelling, I don't know if you know, like
I know she was in 90210, right?
she was, and there was just this like she was Aaron Spelling's daughter, and there was this. It was really really mean, like the conversation, the vibe around Tori Spelling, the way people referred to her very commonly was that she was unattractive and couldn't act, but because her father was Aaron Spelling, she got a role in 90210 and was this big star. So it was like she became synonymous with like people who shouldn't be
Nepo baby, like a bad Nepo baby.
It was Nepo baby before we used the words Nepo baby for sure. So it was sort of like, and it's so funny because Tori Spelling is going to be in this movie franchise. So like she's gonna come in for a sequel later. She really like I like that she was able to sort of laugh at herself and the situation, but it could not be easy to be her like in that way.
So look, I saw the Scream recently. I haven't seen the sequels. I'm gonna watch them for sure this October, and I'll point her out because I totally didn't catch that Tori Spelling, or I don't remember her.
Just like just not for like a full movie part, I don't think, if I'm remembering right, but like she to in any way step foot in a franchise that just like perpetuated especially that this movie's gonna be so big. Sucks. Yeah, like and then here we are all these years later, and I'm like, did you know?
She wasn't voted in on Dancing with the Stars this last weekend. She was the first eliminated. Yeah, it was a public vote, so that's why I have like Tori Spelling like in my mind, like fresh. I'm like, oh, I know what she looks like. Yeah, she just got voted on.
I wonder if this is still following her in her life. I don't know. That's bad news for her. So in the living room, as we're going to get like the sex scene between Billy and Sid, we're going to see Randy like really breaking down the rules for us. And the first one is you have to be a virgin in horror movies if you want to live. So, oh, well, so much for that. He's like, you also can't drink or do drugs. Everybody's like, yeah, at the party. He says, and you can never say I'll be right back. And so those are the rules. He is just telling you what they are. So Dewey and Gail are going to go on a little walk. They're going to look for a car in the bushes. Might be Sid's dad's car. We're going to see kids leaving the party. They haven't seen Tatum. Not really worried about it. They're going to leave anyway. We're going to cut back and forth between Sid and Billy, and then we're going to see like Randy getting a call to find out that the principal is dead. Which who called about this? Like I
at night too. Like
yeah. I just all right, fair enough.
Again, I'm like it could go back to it being a small town, and this is like a big deal. Obviously, these murders happening is kind of a big deal. So yeah.
Oh yeah,
I forget who calls him. Is it the school that calls him, or like?
I don't know that we know who calls him. We just know that he's getting the information, and he's like, guys, it's getting serious now. The principal's dead. It's like, okay, like it was pretty serious before all that. But goodness, but they care about the principal, and that's nice. So okay. Halloween music is playing. The Halloween music from the movie is playing in the background. That movie is playing. The rest of the partiers just sort of leave Randy there. And then Kenneth is going to be watching like Randy get stalked by Ghostface, and then we don't know what happens to him.
Yep. Yeah. I love this part because Randy's just watching, and you see Ghostface creeping up behind him, and he's yelling at the screen, like, no, run, like, no, he's like, look behind you. And then he like realizes that then he gets attacked. So it's again like the meta of it all, like while it's happening is super cool.
Yeah, so just like so meta. Everything about that character really advances that for me. Okay, so Billy and Sid have done the deed, and Sid has, it occurs to her, you know, you could have used your one phone call to call me from the police station. That would have been smart. And he's like, come on, you don't believe me? And then Ghostface is going to come in and stab him. So it's like, okay, like I do wonder how much, like, I can't imagine that Stu is just like waiting on the other side of the door for when the moment that Sydney figures it out. But it's
Yeah.
very well timed here, where it's like he needs another alibi.
Yep.
Like must have alibi.
Getting suspicious.
Oh my gosh. So she's gonna hide. She's like running through rooms in the house. It's like, how do these rooms even connect to each other at this point? And so she goes into an extra bedroom. She's gonna like work her way out onto the roof. I love it when movies use roofs. And then she's like, Ghostface tries to get her, and she's gonna fall backwards. And you're like, no, she's dead. She's dead. And she falls into a boat bed.
She should be seriously injured. Like, are you
For sure.
kidding me? Still, like, she still fell off from like 2 stories up. That's gotta hurt. Like,
And maybe I just don't know enough about boats, but I feel like it's not like she landed on a mattress. Like it feels like it would be like seats and stuff, and like like you land on something that's not the shape of a human.
exactly.
But I mean,
Oh,
perfectly placed. I mean, talk about perfection. And this is important because she now needs to see that Tatum is in the garage, like
right.
in
Yep.
the garage,
Right in front of her.
yeah. So it's all like it's escalating for Sid at this point. We're going to see Sid run to Kenneth in the truck, and he's going to get his throat slit as they're watching Randy be stalked by Ghostface on time delay.
Yep.
But she's going to escape. And she and Dewey are somehow reunited now, and they're going to go. Gail and Dewey are going to run up to the house. Dewey is going to go inside and be the hero for 5 minutes. He's looking around. Nobody is in the living room. Gail finds nobody in the van, but then she finds like a pool of blood from her assistant, which is never good. She's going to get her cellular, and she's going to call 911. And Randy's going to come up. She's going to beat him with the phone, because that's how big the phones were. We're not talking stuff like this. We're talking you can knock a person out with your cellular phone.
Looks like a brick. Yeah.
It was a brick. There was no such thing as putting this thing in your pocket.
Yeah.
We were just a step away from a landline phone where you had to like physically pick up the phone everywhere you went and had a cord attached to the wall. Like, that's what we were coming from. Some people got to a point where they had a phone that like was a cordless. That was cool, but it's still like docked in a certain place. It was wild.
So bulky.
Oh my god. So where's Kenneth? He's on top of Gail's car. She is going to try to throw him off of the car while she's driving it, because she's just so freaked out about the situation. Sydney is shouting for Dewey. He stumbles out of the house, and oh no, like he's been stabbed. When you were watching do you remember when you were watching this? Do you remember who you thought it was?
At this point, I figured maybe like Stu. I'm trying to think. It was a few years back, but I think it was Stu at this point.
Because I had said that thing earlier that he had dated. Yeah.
Yeah. Billy was stabbed, and then we didn't see Stu for a while. I think it was Stu, or at some point Randy. But then it didn't make sense once Randy got attacked. But I never thought, oh, it's 2 people. Like, not once did it cross my mind.
It was such an inventive way to do it. Like, I just don't, like, films didn't really do that kind of thing. And stalker films, or like stalker or slasher films didn't do that kind of thing usually. So it was just this really interesting way to play with it. Okay, so Dewey has been stabbed. Ghostface is there. He takes the knife and he goes, and he wipes the blood off. I just feel like what kind of absorbent material it's just like a perfectly clean knife every time he wipes it off. And then we're going to see I think this is such a cool scene where Sid's going to try to hide from Ghostface in the car. She like locks the door, she gets inside and he's like stalking her and then he disappears and you're like, oh my God. Just like that
in
feeling.
The car too. Yeah.
And then he opens up the
Scary.
hatchback and she doesn't see it and she's trying to get on the radio. It's so like so effectively builds that tension, especially just to see him disappear. It's like you knew where he was. I know we don't see him anymore. And oh,
I hate the suspense, but it's fun, right? But
I mean, you know something's going to happen, but she actually does kick herself free from Ghostface. And then we're going to get this really cool moment where we're going to get Randy and Stu running up to the house at the same time. Sid's got the gun and they're both like, it wasn't me. It was him. No, it was him. It was me. It was him. No. And she's just like, I don't know who it is, but I'm closing the door on both of you. Figure it out.
with the right. Yeah, that's it, right? Like that's Sydney. That's Sydney Prescott for you. Like
Yeah.
she's I wouldn't take my chances either. I'd be like I don't, screw these guys.
Like there's just no test you can really do at this point to like figure out who it is in any sort of reasonable amount of time that's going to keep you safe. So it's just like, nope, sort it out. I'm out. And so she's going to then see Billy. He's alive, sort of, and he falls down the stairs. It's like, oh. And he's totally faking
I believed it at this point. Oh no, Billy. Like poor Billy.
Oh, it's like they had this great love story happening. He only slightly like made her feel bad about not having sex with him because of her mom dying a year before earlier in the film. That's like we're past that now.
A whole hour.
Yeah, we're a whole hour past that. So she's gonna Randy's gonna come in. He's somehow won whatever happened outside with Stu. And Randy's like, Stu's gone a little mad. Billy, the turn fully happens here. He's like, we all go a little mad sometimes. Full Psycho reference. And so like he's got the gun now and he's super dangerous. He's gonna shoot Randy. He's like, see how we did this? This was corn syrup, like Carrie, the movie Carrie with the pig's blood.
Yep.
So okay, it's Billy, but it's also Stu. Oh my God.
The big reveal, I was like, oh my God. I was like, I should have known. Hello, it's always the boyfriend and they're besties, and something was clearly wrong with Stu. But it's such a fun reveal. Also, the switch, like Billy and Stu just like switching into like the bad guy mode.
Yeah.
Billy had been the bad guy, obviously like the bad boyfriend, but like seeing him as the killer and act like the killer, I'm like, this is scary.
Yeah. So good. And like also it's just so smart because they had given them both an alibi for one of the kills, at least one of the kills. So you're like, it can't be, because if you did that, you could have done this, but you couldn't have done this one. And so to make it two people, it throws all of us off who are watching because we don't expect it to be two people. So they've got a voice.
Like, why? Right? So we get these two, and you're like, why? Like, what is going on? And then
yeah,
they go.
I mean, that's really the key problem to solve here. I mean, it's all fun and games to figure out like the tricks, the magic tricks of it, the voice distorter and all of that, but like why all of this? Sid's like, you'll never get away with this. Billy's like, well, tell that to Cotton Weary, like who we framed. She's like, wait, what? Like, oh my God. She's like, why? He's like, I don't believe in motives. Because Norman Bates didn't have one. Hannibal Lecter and Silence of the Lambs didn't have one. Don't need one. He says your mom was a whore like Sharon Stone. Stu's like, yeah, but your mom was no Sharon Stone. Sharon Stone, I think, was a friend of Wes Craven's. So I guess it was like a nice nod to her in some way. Billy gives us a really thin reason for him to be doing all of this. He's like, see, your mom slept with my dad. She's like, this is it.
It comes out of nowhere, and also we know that they drag, or like this is very important for like the rest of the franchise, or like they keep bringing it up. But yeah, it's like what is going on? She just gets hit with all of this information. her boyfriend's the bad guy. Oh, her boyfriend's been killing all these people. Oh, he also killed her mom. Like it's so
And
much in
Cotton
that moment.
Weary's been innocent all this time. It's like,
Yeah, we don't really know. I think we've seen like his face on TV, maybe Conway, but like
mhm,
we don't really know who that is.
yeah.
Um, but yeah,
Yeah, because we're gonna, I mean, patience in time. We're gonna work that out over the next however many movies in this franchise. But he's like, yeah, your mother slept with my dad. She's the reason my mom moved out and abandoned me. Look, that's an upsetting thing to have happen to you. I get it, and I don't want to minimize that in any way, Billy. But like, this is not a standard reaction to that. So
yeah.
it's just Sid's
I
like,
mean, they're just
what?
insane. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of information to take in, like that's already like gonna rock your world just by itself, and then to be like, but how did it lead to this, like at the same time. My goodness. So Billy is saying, oh, well, it's the anniversary of her mom's death, and so that's, I guess, why all this flare up is happening right now. Stu is going to bring Sid's dad out because they've had him for the whole film. And they're like, here's the plan. It's so good. We're gonna frame everything on this man, and we're gonna be the only survivors. We're gonna be wounded, but we're gonna be survivors, and that's the move. So they start stabbing each other. Billy and Stu do. And it just gets totally unhinged. This, like, Stu, some of the best lines from Stu are coming in around this point. Feeling a little woozy here,
He's like, stop it, man. I get it. Like, please stop. It gets like it brings you back to like they are just teenagers and they're stupid and like yes, very evil, but very flawed.
Yeah.
And they're laying out this entire plan for them before killing them. And it's like, again, why? Just to brag about committing this, all of these murders. They're just dumb.
Well, and like, thank goodness they're dumb, because like they're so like focused on stabbing each other that meanwhile Sydney, who's smart, is like, well, I'm going to use the distraction they're providing me to basically like remove my dad from the situation, remove myself, grab the gun.
Yeah, they're just foolish. And you see it throughout the entire movie too, which is what I like about Scream, is that like it is just like a human under that mask. It's nothing like supernatural or crazy. And they can be defeated, when she's running away from them and she outsmarts them by jumping through a window and jumping off the roof or like kicking them down the stairs. It's like, they are Ghostface is just dumb. Like they are flawed.
Yeah, I mean, inherently there's something very unhinged and very like unplanned about their action. Like they're planning them, but how far ahead can you actually plan these things that they're doing? So they're gonna get sloppy, and my goodness, the hubris. So like, Sid is kind of gets herself away from the situation. She grabs a voice distorter. She's gonna call. Billy's gonna give the phone to Stu. He's like, wait, you called the police? Like, where are you hiding right now? My mom and dad are going to be so mad at me. She says, are you alone in the house, to start with? And it's like such a great turn. You're like, yes, Sid. Billy is so angry. He goes to look for her, which this always makes me crack up. He just goes to the living room and starts tearing up pillows with a knife. Like, she's definitely not in the couch cushions.
He's not in the cushions.
Like, if there's one place she isn't, it's the place you're checking. He does check the closet, at least there's that. But unfortunately that is where she's hiding. So we're gonna get this like moment of Jamie Lee Curtis hiding in the closet in Halloween, and then we're gonna get Sid popping out of the closet as Ghostface. She sort of stabs at him with an umbrella, just trying to like get him out of the way. Stu's gonna attack her. She's gonna kill him with a TV. Total nod to Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Okay.
One of the very creative kills of that one. Randy is alive. Yay! He's not like, we know who the bad guys are. It's not Randy, and he's happy to be a virgin, so he could be alive. Billy is also alive right now, and so he's going to attack Sid. Gail's going to shoot. Well, she's actually going to shoot him this time. She tried to shoot him before the safety was on. This time she's going to be effective with the kill. And so then we're going to get Sid kicking Stu, and we're going to get the sort of the moment that I always think of now when I'm watching horror. It's movies like this that made future horror movies less scary to me, because Randy is like, this is the moment the supposedly dead killer comes back to life for one last scare, and then yeah. Like, ah! And Sid shoots him and kills him. It's like every time there's a movie with a moment like this now, where you just get this long shot of the person who's supposed to be dead, I'm like thinking of this line.
Yeah, me too. I'm like, they're gonna come back. They're gonna come back somehow. And that's what Brandy's like, you gotta shoot them in the head, right? Like that's his advice.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, he knows. If we had just listened to Randy from the beginning, we might have prevented a lot of this. And then the dad also pops out of the closet. I guess Sydney was protecting him by standing in front of him when she popped out of it. So like they didn't keep looking for the dad. But yeah, we've got some survivors. We've got Dewey, we've got Gail, we've got Sid, we've got Randy, we've got the dad. And Gail's gonna report on this thing. And I mean, that's
got her story.
She did.
She was there. She got her story. The movie ends with her like reporting live from the scene.
And she earned it. I mean, this woman had to do some work to get this story beyond the normal. I mean, and I do love, like, as the franchise goes on, like these characters are such legacy characters, and they're really honored, especially the further you get into the franchise. So I mean, it's so fun. So okay, I've been asking people to rate these movies based on how scary they think they are, like on a scale of, let's say, like 1 to 10. Where would you put this, especially as somebody who isn't really into scary movies? So like 1 being very like the lowest end, 10 being the highest.
Okay, I would say like a 4. Like we're talking about somebody that's like really scaredy cat, doesn't like movies at all. I would maybe say a 3 or a 4.
Okay. All right.
I think it's very low. It's more suspense than anything. The only reason I'm like, okay, I'll bump it up to a 4. I just don't like the gory stuff, the guts spilling out in the first like 10 minutes. But other than that, like again, the knife stays relatively clean throughout the movie. You know, they make sure to wipe it after every kill. And it's not too bad. I don't think it's super scary. I like, if I can do it, then I think anybody can do it.
Okay. Well, that's good news. So for the folks who are not so sure, this one is like probably pretty safe to go into. So yeah, but actually I'd love to hear that from everybody who's watching this. So rate this on your ScaryMeter. You know, like I said, I'm totally desensitized to horror movies now. So this helps to make sure that recommendations remain appropriate in the future.
Like, what's your favorite kill?
Yeah, I mean, not normal people don't ask questions like that, but I have answers. Okay. Like I'm doing 31 days worth of answers to questions like this. So yeah, but whether you are or not, just rate it and we'll see where it's sort of like the average lands. And that might help any of us who need to make recommendations figure out like, okay, where does this one actually fall? Okay, so next time, for those who are following along day by day, we are going to watch When a Stranger Calls, which is something I talked about a little bit at the start of this film. This for day 6 of the 31 days of scary movies. That film is actually from 1979. So like it's very suspenseful. It's a psychological film. And like the opening 20 minutes are like, I think what get referenced the most in future films, and certainly is referenced in this film. So it's really, really fun. When I rewatched it covering for this, I had a kind of a different feeling about it than I had the first time I watched it. So that was really fun to discover. So I'm curious to know what people think about that one. But yeah.
Wait, what would you rate that one, When a Stranger Calls? You said it's more of a thriller,
so let me ask you this. Because my rating is honestly worth nothing. Like
no, I'm scared to ask, but it sounds good. And if you, like you said, When a Stranger Calls, I'm assuming it's like the bad guy calling, right? And like maybe killing.
Which you know, and that's not even a spoiler to say, like it's very clear from the very beginning. It's a movie that's sort of like in 3 parts that feel very distinct to me. And I didn't like that the first time I watched the film, but when I watched it for this, I was like, I think it kind of works. It's heavily suspenseful. It is. What kind of scary movies do you steer totally clear of? You said gore. Is that fair?
I don't like, yeah, gore and like I said, like demonic or anything with like spirits and stuff. Like I've never watched like The Conjuring or anything like that. I feel like that's too
This
scary.
might work for you. So like it's got no supernatural elements to it. It doesn't have gore. Um, they talk about gore, but they don't show you gore. So like it could work. And if the first like watch the first 20 minutes and if you like it, watch the rest of the film.
Okay.
Is kind
Okay.
of the thing.
I'm into it. Like I'm in the EEKtober vibe, you know?
Yes.
So I don't watch scary movies. I do read the plots.
Ooh.
So I actually just read the Texas Chainsaw Massacre plot because I was like, oh, I'm just interested. And I mean, people rave about that movie and say that
Yeah.
it's like one of the best like scary movies ever. And it sounded okay. I wouldn't watch it. They said
Okay.
that
I
there's
was
really
like,
not a
I don't
story.
know if that's the first one I'd send you to. I actually would
Yeah.
recommend A Nightmare on Elm Street for you.
Okay. Okay. Because I'm like, I can read plots just fine. Watching is a whole different thing. But
Yeah. I mean, because A Nightmare on Elm Street, there are a couple moments where they have like kills that are absurdly like it's like no way there's that much blood coming out of a human. Like it's like that's not it. Like it's like definitely not. But it also has like a lot of that. Like Freddy Krueger is the sort of villain that people cheer when he comes on screen, and he's snarky and he's got one-liners and he's
he
like
talks. I don't even
he
know if he talks.
he does a lot of these films. The guy, the whoever's stalking doesn't talk, but Freddy Krueger has some lines. Um, and he's like, yeah, he has some sass, and so like people celebrate him now. Um, and it's like in a way that I think kind of feels a little bit like this film. So like it's a different plot for sure. Like they're playing with dreams and stuff like that. And he is more of a supernatural figure, but at the same time he has a human form. So it's like, okay. So could
Okay.
could be an avenue you go down, but I
I'll
can
watch
make a
it during
couple
the
other
day.
recommendations.
Yeah, I'll watch it during the daytime if anything.
That sounds fair. Yeah. I mean, do Eektober responsibly is what I say. It's the first time I've ever said it, but I feel like it's something I can say moving forward.
Yeah.
But okay, so like before we wrap up, like what's happening for you? What do you want to plug? I know you've got some things going on.
Yeah, so I recently launched this new Bachelor podcast. I'm not a scary movie girly. I am a reality TV girly, and I love The Bachelor, everything Bachelor Nation. I've watched it for years, and I'm so excited to have a podcast where I get to sit down with like reality TV icons and talk about The Bachelor. I recently had Rachel Riley, and I had Taylor Hale before that. I talked to Demi Burnett, who's a Bachelor Nation icon. That's out every Thursday at americatellsall.com. You can go and subscribe there. Other than that, I'm just watching Big Brother 26 now. The finale is coming up. I'm super excited about that. And I won't be in LA, but I am hosting a watch party here in Nashville. So if anybody's in the area, that's happening at New Heights Brewery. Yeah, I think that's the name of it. But yeah, you can find tickets online.
So cool. A lot of really fun things happening in your world. And I'm telling you, you guys need to check out this podcast because America like debuted at #1. I mean, that doesn't happen by accident. Okay, that's what I'm saying. And for those who are into Eektober and want to watch more of the films, check out. There's a full list of the films that I've got on, slated for each day in the description of the video. I hope you'll join me again. Happy Eektober, everybody. Get spooky, get donuts.
Bye.